how we end up in situations where the ideas are sort of dangerous and not true and things like that. It always begins with the individual. So the end result is very ugly and based on the sort of combined reinforcement of false ideas, but it stems from the individual's weaknesses in a sense. So someone first always has the idea, and they have the idea usually to counter some personal anxiety or weakness, and of course in some cases you might have a person who has some sort of like a disorder in a sense, like a personality disorder that they have to counter very aggressively. And the first thing that happens is usually that the person has an idea which is a comforting idea for them, and then they test it out on other people or another person. And if the other person doesn't really respond uh, healthily to it, so they ignore it, they might not understand what's going on, they might not know what the reality is, or they might have their own personal anxieties based on maybe the situation that is in their society at that moment. A comforting idea can become very, very important. So through this system of sort of reinforcing this false belief that gives you something to hold on to in maybe a bad situation, it can then of course easily spread to other people if it is inherently that contagious in a way. It doesn't have to spread to everybody, just enough people so that the falsehood sort of gets reinforced a little bit. And now all these people become connected to each other a little bit with this, shared idea. And what drives this idea, of course, it isn't factuality anymore. It's the underlying cause that drives all these people to believe it. So it could be, the personality disorder of this person, and they have to do it. For this person, it's the anxiety of the current situation, and for this person, it might be, being a part of a group and being involved in that. But the reasoning isn't reason. So the reasoning is to find some comfort for yourself in a bad situation or a terrifying situation. And then, of course, eventually it becomes this sort of systematic idea where it is always driven by this very primal sort of instinct rather than reasoning. But as it has been reinforced to this situation, now you will begin to uh, look for things, or you will begin to incorporate everything, or at least most things that reinforce this idea. And this leads people to, taking in conspiracy theories and things like that, because they have to make everything fit into this very all-encompassing idea, because now you are a unit. You are no longer a single entity in a way. You are driven by all this counterproductive thinking and all these weaknesses, and it becomes such a big part of yourself that it is you now, and it's extremely painful to get rid of this idea anymore once it gets to the stage, because your entire comfort is based on this whole thing. So it would take very serious intervention on and the individual level to one by one get these people out of this mess. And it also means that if you have, try to incorporate reason here, it is no longer, it is an attack on you. So it becomes this sort of violent, a very serious incident to your, core being. So someone is with injecting reason, or trying to inject reason, is trying to completely demolish you and this entire system that you feel is important, that you've built up, but is based on your personal sort of your personal problem or your personal weakness. So now you can see that it doesn't really matter to most people who believe something that is untrue whether it makes sense or not. They'll make it make sense. whatever your reason for this whole system is, that decides whether you will be able to be pulled out of there. The worst part about this is that nothing stops this movement until you create more fear from everything else than this whole idea is suppressing, or what this whole idea was made to manage. Goodbye.